Okay, so here you are, 13, 14, 15 years old. You're now part of this gang. You're carrying a gun. What are some of the situations that are happening during this age?
We going to come talk to you. We in high school every day. So say I'm at, well, at that time I'm in junior high. In junior high, I was going to a reform school called Jackson. So that was about when Terry Cadeau, so that's about at 14 or 15. So we carrying guns. One, we robbing, carjacking, taking leather coats. That's what we doing with the pistol. And every now and then, this because killing didn't start till '72 after the Ballou murder. So in '71 we was carrying pistols, but we was carrying it more so for the purpose of jacking at that time. And we were still fighting in school every day because every day you go into school. I went to like 15 of them. So you might be at Crenshaw High, which is on the Van Ness boys area, which was end up being Bloods. So every day you got to go, and you might be seeing them after school in the morning, but you're going into enemy territory. See, that's the difference in our era and how they go now. We had to go to the action.
Okay, so you're carrying around guns, but you're not actually shooting at people at this point. You're just using it to make money, pretty much,
And that too,
and protection.
protection because they might have guns. So every now and then you might have a pistol. But at that time, since I was going to a school where they was all Latinos, that was in southeast LA over by Roosevelt, that was used in. I remember one time somebody climbed in a pig pen and shot up the whole where they used to have a smoke area where everybody could come smoke. And just so happened somebody shot up and lit up the whole smoke area. So you could have instances of shootings, yes.
Okay, were you being shot at during this time?
Mm, not at that time. Very. They didn't want to shoot at Crips too much because of the repercussions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then things start to progress, and you said you started to feel like a rock star being in this gang.
No, I didn't feel like no rock star. I say that was the image. I ain't never felt like it was glorified. It just was business.
Okay.
This is what's going on, and this is what we represent, and this is what we getting down with. So as far as in the inner city, it was the equivalent of being Jay-Z or something else, or anybody else, Tupac, Biggie, anybody. It was a fad. It was very, it was a thing. It was the culture.
Hmm.
It was a culture.
How's your mom taking this? Here you have, her oldest son. He's not really going to school. He's carrying pistols. He's getting into various crimes. Because are you being caught during this time, or are you being arrested, or are you getting away with most of it?
Well, at 13 and 14, I hadn't really consistently. So all the things you just said, how she felt about, she didn't know about,
Okay.
really.
But
She,
eventually she found out.
mm-hmm, but
Okay. Were you getting arrested at some point?
yes.
For what?
I'm now we going into gang activity, robbing, and usually carrying a concealed weapon.
So you're getting arrested for that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still a juvenile.
Mm-hmm.
So are you being sent to youth authority or?
I grew up in youth authority. Actually, by the time I was 17, I had been arrested 40 times because they didn't have no juvenile laws for us. They didn't have no laws for carjacking, which they call it now. When we were doing it, it was GTA. We didn't get no time for having a tattoo. They get 10 years gang enhancements. So everything we were doing, there were no laws for juveniles doing the things that we were doing, or if they did notice them, it wasn't nothing because nobody hadn't been doing it like that before.
Okay, so you got arrested 40 times.
Hmm.
what was the most time you ended up doing during that?
Well, they didn't have no laws for
So they
us.
would just let you back
It
out?
was a revolving, was the Wild Wild West. You get caught for a murder, it was a 2-year continuance. That's the most you're going to get for a murder. And that's stretching it.
You would get 2 years for a murder as a juvenile. That's just mind blowing to me.
That's you also end up getting from these group of men the juvenile fitness hearing that you get today. That comes from Crips and Bloods in 71, 72. You also have the expulsion law. That's where when you get caught with a gun on campus, you get set out of city schools and have to go to a CIF school or a reform school. That comes from Crips. Carjacking. GTA then later on they started making all these things end up making it tougher to where these kids nowadays they get the death penalty for something where we didn't even get a check mark for.
Yeah, so basically all the rules started to change based on the stuff that you guys were doing.
Back then and they started catching on. For instance, everybody look at Tookie and a lot of them dudes, these founders, Raymond, Tookie and them, they get a bad rep. They never carried a gun.
Hmm. Never.
They never carried a gun. Raymond Washington got killed in 79. I was with him the day before that. Tookie got arrested in March 79. And I was with him a couple of days before that where I told him the dude you with is a snitch. Well, at that time we didn't have the word snitch. It was telling. I said, man, I think this boy telling. So I've been around them quite a bit, and that's a myth. The killing didn't start till the younger ones that were 13, 14-year-olds got in the game. That's the ones that started the violence.